This video is designed to help you understand a rhetorical situation. I'm going to make it short. Hopefully you can review it if you still need it as we go through our course. But let's go through the acronym that will help us understand the rhetorical situation. I call it program. And so one way to think of it is understanding the program of a program. If you like to watch TV, whether it's streaming video or, whatever it might be these days, there's still some DVDs floating around. As you watch a program of a favorite TV show, you are being spoken to, you are being written to, you are the audience, and the writers try to understand you in order to connect. You do the same thing as a writer. You are trying to connect with someone else, whether it's by text message or tweet or Facebook, Instagram post, whatever it might be. I want you to think of a program as the way you package your message. And so program, the letters, actually spell out an acronym. Let's go through them. P stands for purpose. Every author, every writer, every creator has a purpose for the thing that is being sent out. So as you are writing, think about, what is your purpose? Why are you doing what you're doing? It might be to get a grade. It might just be to check a box. But hopefully you'll find something interesting to write about, and then you'll want to communicate it. And that's probably your number one purpose, to communicate. But it might be to communicate in a specific way. You might be trying to persuade someone to feel the way you feel. And so you include details in your writing that help the reader feel a certain way. We call this pathos. Pathos is kind of related to the word pathetic. Pathetic today means kind of like a failure. But pathetic actually means having emotion and sympathy and empathy involved. And so pathos is when you activate that in the reader. If I write so that the reader feels pathos, then that's one way to connect. So the purpose, that's where we start. R stands for the rhetorical place. Everyone is writing in a certain place. Right now, you're watching from a certain place. But when you start to write, you'll be located somewhere. You'll be outside. You'll be within a school, within a city, within a country. And you need to identify all of those different layers. So a rhetorical place is important for the author or the creator. It's also important for the people who are receiving the message. And so the rhetorical place can be described in many different ways. And just spelling it out, starting with the room you're in and going further and further like, layers of an onion, that is the rhetorical place, R. O stands for the occasion. The occasion of your writing has to do mainly with the time. We can expand it just a little bit, though. It's not just, 3:13 on Wednesday. It's the time of day, the time of year, the time in history. Maybe this is a critical moment in history that has to be addressed. Recently, a famous actress wrote an op-ed, an opinion piece about climate change. And basically, she wanted to take advantage of a moment in time that was absolutely critical. We actually have a Greek name for that. It's called kairos. Kairos, K-A-I-R-O-S, is a critical moment. And so the O of program is the occasion. Describe your occasion, describe the time, and also any factors that are impacting the message being sent at that time. G stands for the genre. Genre, it comes from the same root as gene and Genesis. It means birth or type. And so genre has to do with what kind of writing you are creating. So specifically related to writing, think of all the different kinds of writing we've mentioned already: tweets and posts, and also formal essays or op-eds in a newspaper or online. And so the genre is extremely important. There are certain conventions or rules. Already in this class, we've talked about the remembered event. That's a genre. The profile is another genre. A research paper is another genre. You need to know the rules and follow those rules, not because God invented those rules, but because they are agreed on by society. And those rules do change over time. That leads us to the second R, which is also rhetoric. Okay, rhetoric means the act of communication, usually intending to persuade someone. And so you hear that used in the news and politics, where people are using a lot of rhetoric. But rhetoric is really just the principle of communicating a message with an audience. And so this R is the rhetorical context. That's a little different from the place. It expands it even further and says, what is the culture around you? What is, you have a text that you're writing. Context is what is around the text. And so context has to do with things like, the languages that are spoke. And, will your audience understand your language? Will they understand your turn of phrase? Maybe you're using certain expressions that, even though the audience speaks English, maybe they don't speak English like you do. But it also has to do with social events that are around the writing of your piece. And so we might think of how politics impacts us, how social change impacts us, how accidents of nature or acts of God, we might say, how they change the writing that's happening. When the Titanic sank, there were profound messages that were communicated in the newspapers of the time. And so the rhetorical context included a lot of different things, including the economy, including, why were there shortcuts taken that caused this incredible ship to sink? And so you can say quite a lot about the context, and that's what that R is. And the last thing, A, we have two more. A stands for the audience. You need to consider the audience. You need to actually picture and describe who is going to be receiving this message. You can't just say the teacher or, students my age. That might be possible, but hopefully you have a more specific group that will go beyond just this course. And so you think of what kind of people will want to read the message that you are sending. So try and picture and even describe the audience that you are directing your message to. The last letter is M, and it stands for medium. A medium is a kind of message machine. And right now I'm communicating with a computer, and hopefully that will go to you. And so if something is digital or online, that's an important medium to understand. It's very different from good old-fashioned writing, handwriting, and even typewriting. So there are all different kinds of media. Media is plural, medium is singular. Consider the medium that you are creating and how you are sending your message. A medium can also be thought of as a bridge that carries your message from you to your audience. And so you want to describe what is the medium. It's a little different from genre because medium often has to do with the physical things involved in communicating. It could be my laptop, it could be a tablet, it could be my cell phone, it could be paper, it could be a typewriter, and it could be type that is set in a newspaper office, and then that paper is actually delivered by the young people who usually deliver the papers, and that's kind of a dying idea, isn't it? I hope that this helps you to get with the program. As you analyze things, think of all these letters and try to do your best to describe what you think the program is for your piece of writing. Thanks for watching.